Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of LVAD Talk. And we are featuring another member of the LVAD Nation. I'm speaking with Jasmine Morrison today. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good.
I appreciate you reaching out to me. I do value everyone that does that because I think everybody should have a chance to tell their story. And you never know how your story can help other people.
Exactly.
So let's get into your story. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Valdosta, Georgia.
Okay, you a country girl.
Yeah.
So is the cooking game sick? That's what all I want to know.
Yes, definitely.
No, you got to be from Georgia. You got to be able to cook or they'll kick you out.
Exactly. So if you can't cook, don't even come down here, period. And we don't know how to cook right. We cook wrong, eat wrong, all that, and it's good.
That's what makes it the best.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your story. How did you learn that you were in heart failure?
I learned that like shortly after I had my daughter. I didn't know, like I had high blood pressure. You know, I was already high risk. And the doctor that I had at the time, she totally took me off of blood pressure medicine. So I wasn't on anything. Every time I went to my doctor visit, it was always like 145 over something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always high. She never put me on anything. So I learned after the fact that I was still supposed to be on something like labetalol or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wasn't. So after I had my daughter, I was trying to lay down or lay back or lay flat rather, but I couldn't. I was coughing so bad, like I was about to cough up all my insides. And I noticed when I was sitting up straight, then that's when I was fine. I wasn't doing no coughing, and I kept doing it because I'm trying to figure out like what's going on.
Right.
So I buzzed the nurse in there that was taking care of me. And the only thing she told me to do was lay on my side, on my left side, because my blood pressure was elevated.
Now this is
Now,
right. This is like immediately after you had your daughter.
Well, not immediately after her.
Okay.
I say maybe some hours after I had her.
But you were still in the
down
hospital from having her.
Yeah, I was still in there from having her. So I was ready to rest then, and that's when all this had came about. And I didn't know. And they told me that well, they later on diagnosed me with postpartum cardiomyopathy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was, so I'm like, what is that? And they was like, well, it's basically heart failure. And it's something that happens with women during pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm like, I need to start seeing a heart doctor. And the funny thing about it was, after the hospital that I was at, they referred me over to one of their heart doctors, and I was seeing that person. And I want to say maybe a month or two after I had already been seeing a cardiologist, my OB had phoned me, and she was like, I think you need to go see a cardiologist. And I'm like, I'm already seeing one.
Mm-hmm.
How you missed that? So it had got real bad real quick. I had to wear a life vest for a while. That wasn't working. What made me go to the hospital, because I had got fluid so bad, like all this right here was like big, like
Mm-hmm.
it was just a mess. Like my stomach was so big, like I was finna get ready to have another baby.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like last year when all this came about. So once I got my insurance and everything together, the cardiologist I was seeing here immediately did me a referral to Emory Hospital. So I got up there, and the doctor seen me. He did the EKG and all that stuff, and he came in and he was like, Miss Morrison, I really think you need to stay. Are you prepared to stay? And I wasn't prepared, but you know what I'm saying? But this life or death, so I'm gonna go ahead and stay. I wasn't prepared to stay. I'm just thinking I'm just going to get a consult and gone home. But I had to wind up staying 2 weeks, and they did me a full workup for heart transplant and LVAD. Well, they did the heart transplant first, but they came and told me that I couldn't get it because my antibody levels was high,
Mm-hmm.
and that just really had crushed me because I'm like, I'm young, I have 3 kids. You know, who gonna take care of them if I'm not here? I just had so many emotions everywhere, and I didn't have nobody there with me because all my family was back home, and then this COVID mess, it was just bad. I was just going through it,
All right, so my
and
mama always tell me you don't never ask a young lady her age, but what age range are you in?
almost 30.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you're a baby.
Yeah, so it was just crazy real quick. But, you know, I had to get myself together.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you hear about people talking about God and what that he done did for them and stuff like that. And you like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you don't really know what they saying. You don't really feel them until you have to get him yourself. And
Girl,
I was
don't make me
in
start
there.
shouting up in here, girl.
Listen, I was in that room when I tell you I was in that room crying and praying like I never prayed before.
Uh huh.
I scared my own self because I had started talking in tongues or something. I had to keep looking around because I'm like, girl, what did you just say? I didn't even know. I was just in there praying because God, I need you right now. If I ain't ever need you now other day, I need you now.
I totally
And
understand.
I just held on to my faith. And once I did that, man, everything started turning around for me. Everything did. And I'm forever grateful for that. The doctor told me, you know, like when they introduced me to the vet, I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, no, I'm not finna deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
The lady was like, oh, you're gonna have to have bag with you. You have to take these big old batteries and this controller and this and that. And I'm looking like, I like my independence. I'm not finna be stabbed with my mom. Ain't nobody finna handicap me.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody finna do none of that. I'm not with it. So I had them. They sent me home, right? And it just kept worrying my brain because I kept trying to, you know, how can I say it? Come to term with this,
Okay.
you know. So I did my own little research, got on YouTube, and I seen people with the VAT. It was more so older people, how they living, how they doing good, still doing what they want to do, and this and that. I'm like, okay, so it might not be as bad as the lady trying to make it be. So I had to go back up there for one more visit, and you know, that was like, you feeling good right now? He was like, looking at your labs and your heart pictures and stuff. I can't believe you feeling good. How you feeling? Like he telling me the stuff that he's seeing that I should be feeling
Mm-hmm.
bad, but I wasn't feeling bad. And
And
at that
it
moment,
was the
I knew
same
that
way
wasn't
to
nobody
me.
but God.
Yeah, but it was the
Huh?
same with me. It's like, you go through a certain routine, feeling a certain way, and to you that's
Hmm.
normal.
Yeah.
But to the, what they're seeing as far as like for me, when I got mine, my EF was down to 5%. But for
Hmm.
me, that was my normal.
Yeah.
So I
See
wasn't
me.
feeling bad.
See, when I got up there with them, well, what I know my EF to be here was between 25 to 35. But when I got there with them, they told me it was 10%. And I was like, wait a minute.
Hmm.
How I got all the way down here and I've been steady seeing them doctors back home and they doing all this stuff and they ain't told me nothing. I didn't even know like the real seriousness of my heart until I got in Atlanta and started seeing them at Emory. So I'm just like, this crazy.
Hmm.
But he was looking at me, he was like, I just can't believe you feeling, you talking and looking good as you are. And I can't believe it. And I'm just saying to myself, there ain't nobody but God.
Right.
That's all that is.
Hmm.
So I told him, I was like, I don't want to go back home on the Marathon no more. If we got to have this surgery, let's just go ahead and do it. And he told me, you know, if I wanted to still feeling how I'm feeling now and be able to live to see my 29th birthday, then I need to go ahead and have this surgery and go ahead and start, healing now. So I made that decision in October on the 20th, and he we had got the ball rolling. So my surgery kept getting put off because they was putting other stuff before me, like emergency stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was finally had got it done October 29th, and it was hell. Excuse my language, but it was bad. Like, I just, all the tubes and stuff, I just was like, man, I ain't gonna be able to make it. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. And it had broke me down when I video called my kids and seen them on Thanksgiving, and I couldn't be home with
Mm-hmm.
them. That was my first holiday missing with them, without them. And I was like, man, I'm going home Christmas. I'm gonna be with my kids on Christmas. So I let that be my motivation. I got my tail up out that bed. I walked, I prayed, I did what I had to do to get up out of there so I can go home.
Yeah, the
And
recovery for the LVAD surgery, from what I hear from the people I've been talking to, that's one of the hardest recoveries, and it's a
it
lot harder than actual transplant.
listen, you have to learn how to walk. You have to, it was a whole lot. And then I was still like having that little cough, like that little mucus stuff
Mm-hmm.
you coughing up. I was coughing that up still. It was still hard for me to kind of breathe and get my lungs together and all that. It was really hard. I'm not even gonna lie. It was hard. But when you have something that you're looking forward to, it makes you work.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you put the work in. And I feel bad for some people who don't have that support, because you got to have support.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
got to have
Mm-hmm.
support, because you're going to be at your lowest, and you're going to need somebody to be there for you and say, hey, look, you got this, you can do it. We ain't finna give up this fast. If I need to be here to help you, that's what I'm going to do. Like, you need somebody that's going to be strong for you at that time. You really do.
You hit a point with me, um, and I want to expand on that a little bit more. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when I got mine, my choice was you can get this or you can die. It was
Mm-hmm.
straightforward. Like, get this or you may not make it throughout the month.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, my kids were a lot younger. So,
Yeah.
how was the role that your kids played for inspiring you and being your motivation? Because I know for me, that was a big thing.
For me, because anybody that knows me know I love my kids to death, and I just could not see them growing up without me. And and my boys, like my oldest son, he's 9 years old, and he has a problem with like expressing him feelings and stuff like that.
Mm.
So
You have all
what had
boys?
I have two boys, and my last baby was a little girl. She's 2 years old
Oh, I
now.
feel sorry for her when she grew up. She gonna have to deal with them brothers.
Man, listen, she handled them. I ain't never seen nothing like it. She is the boss of the house. Really, she is. But when I talked to my oldest son on the phone, I was like, "What's wrong?" We was talking, and he was like, "Mama, when you coming home? I want you to come home." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be there as soon as I get, heal up from this surgery." And next thing I know, he just broke down like a little baby, just
Mhm.
crying. um they say you gonna die, they say you might not come home, this and that. And I'm like, who said that? And he told me, and I had to check that person, because
Mhm.
why would you tell my 9-year-old son so much like that? If anything, tell him to pray for his mama, that she gonna get through the surgery, this recovery stage, and she gonna come home and see about him. So that was my breaking point for me when my son broke down in my ear. And I'm just like, girl, you got to get out this bed. You got to walk. You got to do something. And that's what I was doing in my room. Even if I was just walking from my bed to the window or walking around in there, I was up moving around, because I had to go home to my kids. I just can't see nobody raising them and doing them how I will.
I totally
And
understand. Yeah.
yeah.
So, what was your recovery like after your LVAD? And so we mentioned earlier, you said your
Mhm.
doctor said he was amazed that you were up and about and feeling as good as you did.
Mhm.
After your LVAD, after you healed, could you tell a difference?
Well, he told me, okay, when it was time for me to go ahead and make the decision about having that,
Mhm.
he was like, looking at all the stuff, he was like, I'm just surprised you feeling it's good, right?
Mhm.
Okay, when he said that, I was home. I still had the Marinol in my arm.
Mhm.
So that supposed to have did its job, but it just wasn't working for me. And they had me on the highest dose that they could have me on, and it still wasn't doing anything. So he was like, why are you feeling this good now? We need to go ahead and do this surgery if you're gonna do it.
Okay.
So he was like, I can send you home. I can let you go home and you can get some things together, or you can go ahead and stay and we can, schedule the surgery. So I'm like, let's go ahead and stay because I'm feeling this good now. And, you my doctor, and I'm sure you got, my best interest at hand right now. You're not telling me nothing wrong. So let's go ahead and schedule this surgery. Let's go ahead and do it. I don't want to go home on Marinol no more. So I went ahead and made that decision to go ahead and do it. And I'm glad that I did because I was totally finna count it out. I'm
Mhm.
glad that I did. I'm now how I feel right now. It's almost like I feel like God did this to me to be strong for somebody else who can't be strong as me. Because when I tell you I do everything I want to do, when I want to do it, I don't have no problems, no nothing. It's just it amazes me sometimes how well that I'm doing. Like my INR's been in range for I don't know how long now.
Mhm.
My lab's been good. Everything's been good every week. Now I have to just go every 2 weeks to have my INR and all that stuff checked, and it's amazing to me.
Oh my
It's just amazing.
So, what was your recovery like when you first got home?
When I first got home, I knew that I had to take it easy because it's like in your mind, you just you thinking you can go ahead and do all this and do all that, but your body gonna tell you when you're ready to do whatever it is you want to
Mhm.
do. And so what I had to do was like pace myself, and it was kind of hard at first, being that I had a 1 year old at the time.
Mhm.
She when I got home, she was all over me, jumping on me, wanting me to hold her and all this, and it hurt me to my heart not to be able to hold her, like pick her up and stuff. But I talked to her and she understood somewhat that I couldn't hold her. It was a no at the time. So I gradually started back, like doing little small stuff, like washing dishes or you know sweeping, mopping. I slowly worked my way back into that stuff, and I just basically took my time until my body let me know that I was ready to go full force. And once it did, I ain't stopped since.
I know that's right.
I haven't stopped since.
So, what was it like for your kids dealing with you when you first came home? And I know you mentioned your baby girl, but for the other two, what was it like for them?
The other two, they were so helpful. Anything I needed, they did it for me. They helped because I have stairs in my apartment.
Mhm.
So they would help me. Each one of them would get on the side of me and walk me up the stairs, make sure I'm tucked in bed, make sure I got everything I need. When it was time for me to hook on the wall power, I taught them how to unhook me, from the batteries and put them on a charge onto the wall power and all that stuff. So they knew how to help me, and I didn't want to just be like, no, don't touch this, don't touch that. I thought it was safe to teach them what to do in case I couldn't do it for myself.
Mhm.
So when I got home, my mom, she's my caregiver. So she was coming here for a while, changing my dressing and all that stuff until I got well enough to do it on my own. So once I started doing it on my own, then I didn't need her to come to my place and help me no more.
How long was it before you got to that point where you could do it on your own?
Ooh, I came home December. I want to say maybe at the end of January was when I was able to do it on my own. I mean, do it on my own because at this time, all this up here was healed up. Then
Mhm.
it didn't really hurt for me to look down and do this and do that. all this was healed up. So that's what I did, you know. I needed my independence. I didn't want to feel handicapped, or I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. You know, that's why I fight so hard to get better and do better, because I didn't want to be a burden on people. You know how people say, "Oh, I'm gonna be here for you. I got you." But are you really gonna be here? Like, this is for real. I don't need you to just be saying it for clout. Like, I need you to be here if you're gonna be here. And that's just how I am. So I was like, man, bump this. I'm not gonna be dependent on nobody. I'm finna do this myself because I can do it.
So is your plan to still try to go and get a transplant?
Oh, that is so scary. I really want to do the transplant thing, but at the same time, I don't want to get no heart and then my body start rejecting it, because you know, once your body start rejecting it, you can't get no VAD. And I'm just like, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And so that's a conversation I'm having with a lot of people now. You know, like I've had my VAD for 6 years. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to it. I know what I'm looking for. I know what to expect. And in almost in a way, it gives me a sense of invincibility. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so do I want to take that risk and get a transplant? I kind of already made up my mind that I do if it comes around, but I know for me, it's going to be a lot harder because of my blood type and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had my LVAD for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's little things that I miss. Like I want to swim.
Yeah.
I want to take a bath so bad. I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's little things like that. But do you stay with what I know and what I'm used to? It's a whole mental trip.
Yeah, it is. And I keep beating myself around the bush about it. I'm doing so good now, and I feel like if it ever comes to that point and we talk about transplant, I don't know if I would want to. I don't know. Like, I'm like you, I miss the swimming and all that stuff too. Like, I'm a Pisces. I love water.
Well,
But
girl, me too.
I love water, but I'm just like, man, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
You better
Like,
not
this
tell me
is
that your birthday in February.
no, my birthday is March 6th.
My daughter's March 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's still something that I'm fighting myself with too. But I kind of, cause I'm used to it now. I've only had my VAD for 7 months,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just like, if an opportunity come, if they feel like it's safe and I survive, then I may go ahead and do it. But if not, just give me my batteries and my bag, and I'm going about my way.
So what type of things do you like to do now? Because you're healed up, you're out there in the streets. What do you like to do now?
I pretty much just I go bowling. I love bowling. I go get my nails done and stuff, and when I feel like it, I'll do my hair. If not, I'll let somebody else do it. Um, I'm just pretty much just living every day like it ain't no tomorrow, because 7 months ago, I probably wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for the VAD. So now I'm not taking life for granted at all. I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. I'm going to do it. I'm not worrying about what anybody has to say, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that have to live my life, and people going to talk about you whether you're doing good, bad or not. So if
Ain't
they
it
going to
something
talk,
how something like that would change your whole outlook on life?
it really did. Like, it really did, because I'm tell you, when I tell you my self-esteem was like not how it is now. Like, when I got the VAD, I was just like, man, I'm not gonna have a love life anymore. Ain't nobody gonna want to talk to me and this and that and the third. Listen, when I tell you that bad don't stop nothing, it don't stop nothing.
Oh my God.
It don't stop nothing. Like, people just coming out the woodworks. And I'm like, where's y'all coming from? Like, I ain't had no love when I ain't had this bag. I got this bag and it's just all y'all coming out of everywhere. Where y'all coming from? Go back.
No, they want that. They want that electric life. That's what they want.
Hey, they better go head on. They better go head on.
Do you have a defibrillator?
Yes, I have a defibrillator.
Has it ever shocked you?
It never shocked me.
Okay.
Never.
Yes,
Never.
mine has shocked me a few times.
And you know what? It was times they was looking at stuff that was like, you didn't get shot. And I'm like, I never got shot. Never.
Well, for me, one of my symptoms was AFib. And AFib is when your heart starts beating out of control. Like you could just be sitting on a couch and it's beating like you just ran around the block. And with me, that's why I would get shocked, because my heart would get into that rhythm and it'll have to get shocked and it'll calm it right down.
See, I had VTech where it'd be like real quick and then it'll stop. And you know, when you're in the hospital, they hear what they see they monitors.
They come in running.
They're running.
Yeah.
Are you okay? I'm sitting there eating stuff, looking at TV like, yeah, what's wrong with y'all? You okay? You sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So you ain't feel it? I said I felt it, but it wasn't nothing to make me just pass out. Nothing like. I'm fine. They was like, okay, you know, if you feel some type of way, you need to call us. And I'm like, okay. But it never shocked me. I'm thankful because I was scared. I was gonna know what to do if it ever did. So I'm glad that it never shocked me, and I hope it never does.
I hope it never does too. So, you have any questions for me?
Well, I know you said you had your VAD for 6 years. So how did you like really do it? Like I know, I ain't gonna ask you your age, but I see cool. A lot of older
you can add
people.
I'm 47.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so I see a lot of older people like in the LVAD group, and they be so depressing. They be depressing me, and I feel so bad for them because I wish I could give them the energy that I have and that I got, and it's like they've had theirs way longer than I have, and I keep asking myself like, girl, how you doing all this and doing all that, and these people done had it for this long and they still not doing good as you. Like, I don't understand.
I believe a lot of it is mental. And some people just don't have it inside of them. I also believe that when we go through a process like this, if your mental health isn't on point before, it's definitely not going to be on point afterwards. And I think that's one of the things I would like to see changed. They, as medical professionals, they deal with our physical, but they don't deal with the mental afterwards. And like you were saying earlier, if you don't have a strong support team or support group or people to look out for you, it's real easy to fall down in that rabbit hole in the "oh woe is me" category, when instead of coming out. And like you said, they're older. So one of my inspirations is my kids and keeping after my kids. My son is 10 and my daughter's 14. So, they help inspire me. It might be different once they're gone, or it might have been different if I didn't have them. But they're one of my main motivations that keep me up and keep me going every day. And some people just don't have that. And I think, it's up to us to try to. That's one reason I do this. So you can see that as people are active, we out here, we living life, we doing our thing. And, just because we have an LVAD don't mean that's all that we are.
Yes, come on now.
Yeah, I told you, girl. Don't get me started now.
Tell people like, listen, just because we got an LVAD, it's not the end of the world. You have to surround yourself with positive people, get all that negative energy away from you, and then you have to just be positive too. You have to stay positive and have faith at all times. Because if you don't, like you said, you will fall in that rabbit hole. And, it's been times where I thought I was going to fall in it, but I was like, you know what, bump that, girl. You still looking good. You ain't even got to be doing all that. You ain't got to be the person all that, because you doing better than half of the people around here that ain't got no problem.
And I look at it this way. So, I know that if I didn't get my LVAD, I would have been gone a long time ago. you know? So every day that I wake up, I got to give it my best shot because
Yes.
I didn't have to have this day.
Yes.
So I'm not going to be walking around, moping and gloomy because I have
Exactly.
extra days.
And that's how people got to think with this VAD. You know, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't even be here.
You'd be gone.
If you didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was something inspired you to get it in the first place. Because you could have refused it, but you did it. You went through with it. So whatever it was that made you go through with the surgery, you need to get back to that and just, you know, give it all you got.
Yeah.
You got to.
So what are your plans now for life?
My plans now for life is to give my kids a great life. You know, I'm still here. I'm still doing the best that I can with it, with this VAD, you know, and I want to give my kids a home, like something that they can call their own whenever I leave here. You know, my thing now is doing something for them and leaving them something. So that's what I'm focusing on right now.
Awesome. All right, so I end up all my episodes this way. If somebody came to you, one of your friends came to you and was like, Jasmine, girl, I think they told me I need an LVAD. What would be your advice to that person?
My advice to that person is don't have any regrets when you get it. Do it because you have something that you still want to live for. Do it because you know your family and friends wouldn't, you know, make it without you. You know, and don't do it for them, but you got to do it for you too. And when you do go through with the surgery and you have to get this VAD, don't let it depress you. You giving yourself a second chance at life, a different life. You in a totally different world now, and hopefully experience. Okay, hopefully you will have a different experience on life, and maybe you can encourage somebody else. Maybe you know, sometimes God do stuff in your life that you don't understand. Like I didn't understand why I had to go through all this. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I feel like sometimes that he just did this to me so I can be strong for others who's not as strong in me. And, you know, I actually had to talk to a girl, you know, that had to have the VAD, but they told me she got sick so quickly so she couldn't do it and she passed. And that hurt my feelings because after I talked to her, I just knew she was going to have the surgery. Mm-hmm. I didn't know really her situation or what happened, but I did know that her mom was, her and her mom was lost like me and my mom was. And once I talked to her and told her, you know, all this stuff that she was worrying about and once I told her how I was doing, she was all game for it. So you just got to do what you got to do to live. Fight to live. That's what I would say. Fight to live. Don't just not fight. You have to fight.
Yeah. Jasmine, I appreciate you for your time. You're more than welcome. If you ever want to come back, you have a space here. I appreciate your spirit and be willing to help others. That really does mean a lot because, you know, like you said, when I first found out about it, I didn't have a lot of references. And that's one of the reasons I do this now, because I want people to hear real people's stories. And not just, you know, you get the doctor stories and the medical company stories, but I want people to hear real people talking about this. So I thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been LVAD Talk. We have been doing big things in the background. You can now reach us at www.lvadtalk.com. You can see the audio and the video together. You can leave us comments and voicemails and just keep in touch with us. We're trying to keep you updated. If anybody wants to come in, tell your story, hit me up, because that's what this platform is about. I want all people to hit me up, all types, from all places, because we're a small community and we got to stick together.
Yep.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Shawn. We have been talking with Jasmine Morrison today. I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to listen to us. And we out.